What if I told you that most new traders waste years learning the wrong things and don't even realize it? Studies have shown that learning on your own can take up to 4 times longer than learning from a coach or a mentor. The problem is, good coaching isn't cheap, and most beginners don't know where to start. So instead of spending thousands of dollars or wasting years jumping from strategy to strategy, I'm going to give you the next best thing. In today's video, we're going to take a look at 5 books that every new trader should read, each one teaching a very critical skill that separates consistently profitable traders from anyone else. And if you read these books in the right order, you'll avoid many of the mistakes that cause most traders to quit before they ever have a chance to succeed. So let's start with book number 1. Trading isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's an investment tool. It's a wealth accelerator. That means if you want to become a successful trader, you first need to know 2 things. 1, an understanding of your personal finances, and 2, an understanding of where trading fits into your long-term financial plan. And when it comes to understanding money and using it as a tool to buy freedom, I don't think there's a better book than Always Free by Jason Greystone. Now I know I'm a little bit biased because that's my good friend and we co-founded Tier 1 Trading together, but seriously, one of the things that I love most about this book is that it forces you to define what freedom actually means for you. Then it walks you through the math, yes, the numbers, the undebatable numbers needed to figure out how much money you actually need to live your ideal lifestyle. It also teaches you how to buy back your time, how to build wealthy habits, how to understand the 3 levels of freedom, which are going to be mental freedom, mobility freedom, and financial freedom. And here's the reality. If you are irresponsible with your finances and you're looking at trading as a way that's going to magically fit your life, you're probably going to end up just losing money even faster. You see, long-term trading success starts with having a long-term plan, and figuring that out is important. And that's why this book is the first book I'd recommend. On to book number 2. So, the fastest way to learn anything is to study the people that have already accomplished the thing that you're trying to do. So if you want to become a successful trader, why not learn directly from the greatest traders of all time? And this is why the next book that you need to read is going to be Market Wizards. Now, there are lots of Market Wizard books out there. I'll let you pick and choose which one you want to read. But each and every one of them interviewed trading greats. And well, those are great people to learn from. Now, is reading Market Wizards the same as having a personal coach or a mentor sitting next to you, looking over your shoulder and critiquing you? Of course not. But it is a lot cheaper. And honestly, as someone who used to do 1v1 mentoring, it's a lot less awkward. And personally speaking, this book changed the way that I looked at trading for 2 reasons. 1, it destroyed the myth that there was this one magical strategy that I needed to discover before I can ever become profitable. And back then, I genuinely believed that there was just one thing that no one else found that I would somehow find that would make me great. Yeah. The second thing, and probably the more important thing, is that it changed the way that I believed in myself. You see, when I was growing up, or I guess not growing up, but new into trading, every trader I saw on TV or the movies looked exactly the same. They came from wealthy families, they went to expensive schools, they had degrees in finance, and I had none of those things, and therefore assumed that I could never become a successful trader. But after reading Market Wizards, I realized that successful traders come from all different type of backgrounds, and more importantly, right, all of them at some point in their career, I think except for one person, was absolutely terrible when they first started. And I remember one story that always stuck out to me. I forgot what trader it was, but he was involved in some trades. I think he was a little bit over leveraged and it wasn't going his way and he was bleeding money quick, but he still believed in this position. The problem was he didn't have any money and he was soon going to be taken out of it. So he had to scurry into the back parts of the office, like the back little stairwell, whatever like that, call his mom and beg for money that he can use to remain in his position until it rebounded. And I'll tell you what, I've had a lot of dark periods in my trading career. I've done a lot of things that I'm not very proud of and are very embarrassing. But till this point, knock on wood, I have never been down so bad that I had to call my mom and ask for help. So yeah, made me feel a little bit better about myself. Book number 3. Now, once you figure out where trading fits into your bigger financial plan and you've already learned from traders who have been through the journey, it's finally time to open up the charts. And the book that I recommend for this is going to be Technical Analysis, a Masterclass by Rolf and Moritz, the boys over at Trade Society. And I recommend this one, not because it's the greatest book on technical analysis out there, but for a newer trader, it is probably the best beginner-friendly book you can read on technical analysis. And something that's really cool about this book as well is that it covers both sides of technical analysis, right? So not just the pure price action trading side, not just the indicator side, but it walks you through both sides of the market. And that's really key because as a newer trader just learning for the first time, you probably have no idea what type of trader or trading style that you'll eventually gravitate to. So it's okay to get exposure to both. And in fact, it's recommended you get exposure to both. Because remember, the goal right now isn't to find your strategy, it is to build your foundation, right? And that's also the biggest regret that I had when I was a newer trader, right? I spent years chasing strategies instead of learning how the markets actually moved, right? And it wasn't until I truly understood market behavior and very specific price patterns that all the stuff on the chart started making sense, and all the strategies that I learned and said were crap before started proving to be profitable. So take my advice. You don't have to spend years wandering on the same dark journey that I did. Learn the market first, then learn the strategy second, not the other way around. Book number 4. Once you understand technical analysis, the next step is to learn how professionals actually make money from it. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit for this one because I don't really feel comfortable recommending one if you haven't kind of read the other first. But the 2 books I'm going to recommend for this category are going to be One Good Trade and The Playbook by Mike Bellafiore. And going back to the word professional, the reason I like using the word professional is because real traders treat their trading like a business. It's not a hobby. They just don't come in and do things and react off of thoughts and feels and emotion. They have a playbook. They have a rules-based trading strategy and they follow it to a T. And this book is great with teaching you kind of what that is, what it looks like, and how professional traders in a professional environment use it. Because let's be honest with yourself, right? When most traders lose money, most newer traders lose money, what do they automatically blame? Well, they blame the strategy. And yes, there are some strategies out there that simply just don't have an edge, meaning that they don't work no matter what you do to them. But more times than not, the problem lies with the trader. And I remember years ago, this is before we were tier 1 trading, I worked with this company called Trade Empowered. And during that time, I had the luxury of being mentored by who I think was one of the greatest strategy developers ever. In fact, he was in charge, right, of helping traders transition from the pits, right, the little areas on the stock exchanges where they would yell and shout and do buy and sell orders down there, to the computers once trading went electronic. Which brings me to another random thought. If you're ever interested in seeing kind of what that transition looked like, there's a fantastic documentary, I believe it's on Netflix, called Floored. Just be warned, it's a little bit sad because not everyone makes it. But anyway, we had this theory that traders, not strategies, were usually the biggest problem. So we built this semi-automatic trading strategy and gave it to a group of the traders we were working with. The software identified every setup. It generated every signal. Pretty much all you had to do was push buy or sell when the alert came or when the signal popped up on your chart. Simple, right? Dummy proof. Now, if I asked you what would be the expected result from this group of traders who were trading this same system on this same portfolio of pairs, you would say they would all get the same results. Not so fast, my friend. Some traders made some really good money. Some traders were break even, and others absolutely bombed it. As we interviewed our traders afterwards, one reason kept coming up over and over again. Discipline. The losing traders started believing that they knew better than the system, and instead of following every single signal that the strategy was showing them, they decided to cherry pick the ones that they thought were better. And ironically, those decisions actually made their results worse. Who would have thought? So that's why I love One Good Trade and The Playbook, right? Together, these are probably the best books I've read on what it actually means to be a professional trader and how to consistently follow a rules-based process and how to go about even analyzing and making tweaks to that process and trying to become more efficient as you go on. Now, book number 5, and finally, we're going to talk about the part of trading that really matters if you ever want to have long-term success, and that is going to be trading psychology. Now, choosing just one book on psychology, this was probably the hardest decision in this list because there are so many great ones and they all cover kind of different aspects of traders. And many of you would probably think that I'm going to choose Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas because that is kind of the industry beauty. And don't get me wrong, I do think it is an incredible book, but I've always believed that specific book is more valuable after you've already experienced some of the emotional ups and downs of the markets instead of someone going into it for the first time. So for someone learning on their own, I actually recommend The Daily Trading Coach by Dr. Brett Steenbarger. Why? Well, because it doesn't just explain why traders struggle, it gives you practical exercises and tools that teach you how to improve if you are struggling. And again, for someone that's going to be on their own with no creepy trader looking over their shoulder, that is going to make a big difference. And for those of you who are new to technical analysis and ready to learn, I recommend checking out this video, How to Read a Price Chart for Beginners. And also, if you're interested in shortening your learning curve and looking for coaching and mentorship, I recommend checking us out, www.tier1trading.com.